I seem to have noticed that a lot of Blitz players and even some content creators in retrospect have not really been giving much attention towards the XM66F. So I figured why not make a video on the vehicle today and give it a little bit of some love talking about its deadly capabilities alongside that. So first off, the vehicle has over 35, almost 3,600 damage per minute with a 6.88 second reload time. Surprisingly enough, takes advantage over the DPM levels of a lot of heavy M's like a T95E6 and somewhat even a Stritz Von K in any way, shape, or form. Not to mention that it's got really troll armor and 10 degrees of gun depression, which means that it can work ridge lines like there's no tomorrow. And this is one of the other tank destroyers as well that can reverse significantly fast at 20 kilometers per hour, and it even has the emergency track mechanic associated with it as well, which means that if your track is destroyed, then you still can reverse at 4 kilometers per hour, relying on the other track that's present on this vehicle. That's actually quite crazy to even think about for something that would lurk surprisingly enough on a tank destroyer. So let's go ahead and lurk on into our first battle. We got double Sheridans that look like they are in tune in that aspect. So let's go ahead and see how we can fare well as apart from that. So what we are going to do is that we are going to be lurking on over towards this bush right over here and seeing what we can outspot. Got to remember that tank destroyers also got camo net buffs, so somewhat if you are behind a bush, depending on what tank destroyer that it is, then you will not necessarily be spotted for the most part. So alright, looks like they got nothing that's going to be lurking on over here. That could all change momentarily. I'm just going to move up just a tiny bit. You got the FE215B, surprisingly enough, lurking on over to the side. Looks like the Sheridan is going to possibly abandon that flank. I would possibly just wait right here to see if this guy is going to make a dire miss poke, which he does. 385 slap into his vehicle. Very solid start. As apart from that, dude did not really seem to know that I was there. We got the E75 off to the side once again. Didn't want to really risk that shot in that aspect, so looks like we had a Hori coming on low, and we do got the 50B lurking on over to the side as well. So we got the Hori. Let's go ahead and see if we can maybe get a slap into this guy real quick. So he is going to be lurking on out right there. Let's get a quick slap for 365. Beautiful stuff. All right. And they do have a Sheridan off in the back as well. All right. So I am basically going to be holding off this spot for the time being. We got the Sheridan. It looks like he's going to be coming right in on me. Let's go ahead and get a slap for 388 into his vehicle. All right. And then we're going to continuously back on up then. Good thing we got the emergency track mechanic ready for us, so don't really care that he is going to peck me. There we go, 372 slap into him. So when the gun really wants to feel really nice and it wants to work on you is where it can contribute towards the deadly factors to what this vehicle has going for it. And we do get a max roll of 438. It's unfortunate enough that we bled a lot of our health in that aspect, which is unfortunate. So I would mainly be relying on our type to maybe get some of the hits in on us. So type is going to fire in on once. T57 Heavy is going to fire a second time. All right, let's go ahead and just continue to stay put right over here for the time being until somebody's going to be lurking on outward. We got the 57 Heavy. We're going to wait for him to fire once. All right, we got the 215B off to the side. There we go, 464 slap into him. All right, so reloading again. Let's go ahead and see if this 215B is going to continuously move on upwards, which it looks like that he is. And it looks like that he wants to go for me, unfortunately enough. Oh, but he unfortunately aims for the Type 71. So we're just going to continuously back on up then. I do not want to get pecked off by this guy today. Otherwise, if he does expose his hatch, then I would possibly be able to get a nice tap into him. Alright, so I'm going to move up just a very tiny bit. I want to be sincerely careful in that aspect as well. So we got the 215B. He's not going to be poking in any way, shape, or form. Looks like we got two more enemies off to the side right over there. So I'm going to continuously back on up, and I want to see if I can maybe attack these guys. Looks like we got our ammo rack restored. That is actually really good. So want to be very careful. I'm going to move up here a little bit just in case. We got the 215B. All right, it looks like that he's not going to be spotted in any way, shape, or form. Let's see. I did see a 183 lurking on over here as well. I want to be... Oh, okay, he's off to the far side. All right, that's really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on down over here and then get in behind maybe the 50B or even the 183 in that aspect. We got the rear of the 50B. It looks like we can get a... Oh, and then the shell just flies a little bit high. That's unfortunate. All right, so we're going to mosey on down towards the 50B once again. All right, he's cleared. That's really good. We got the 183 as well, so we're going to back on up and get a nice shot over matching his turret, and then we're going to reload once again. Looks like that we are able to get a nice miss, unfortunately enough. So we're going to make up that for that matter just by going up just a tiny little bit. Just unfortunately enough. Well, my RNG somewhat worked for the most part, but at times it kind of led to the unfortunate downfall, and I couldn't surpass my limits. But still, a fairly solid damage result, almost just shy of 3,000 damage. I would have done 3,000 if it wasn't for my RNG screwing me at the last second, but that's going to still be a fairly solid result, doing second on the team. Alright, let's go ahead and mosey our way into game number 2 and see how we can fare well. So, the unfortunate part about tank destroyers is that they have insane levels of pen factors, and you saw that Hori was able to butter through my gun like there was no tomorrow. Which is a weak spot that can occur for the majority of premium ammo, but it can be withstandable by standard ammo, which is the good news apart from that. So, nothing is really going to get those high rolls into you. Otherwise, they have to fire premium ammo in order to guarantee the pen on this gun mantlet. So, that's really the unfortunate factor that really contributes to this. But you can somewhat get really troll bounces because the gun mantlet is actually really tiny. And there is a high percentile chance to where you can overmatch the gun mantlet and you are able to bounce this thing. So, let's go ahead and lurk on over to the left. Let's see what they got. A 183 and a 113 GFT. So we're going to rely on our maneuverability factors to get on into the front line over here and see what's going to be outspotted lurking off over towards the far side like this M6 Yo. And again, the gun really not demonstrating its positive factors, especially because of that 4.2 seconds of aiming time, really just letting it down for that matter. We got the Yo coming on out. Beautiful tap for 409. I was the only vehicle, surprisingly enough, to get a tap into his vehicle. Alright, we got the WZ-113 GFT, so we're able to butter through, I was going to say butter through that upper plate, unfortunately enough. If I was running Cali, then we would have had that upper plate dealt with without a hassle, but the thing about Gunrammer is that it will deduct that reload time to a very extensive margin. So, we're going to lurk around over here towards this enemy. We got the 183 as well, so we're going to go ahead and fire in a nice tap for 428, and then we're just going to back on up just in case of this 113. Actually, he is getting screwed in that aspect, so we're going to mosey on up towards him, and we're going to go ahead and fire in a nice tap for 434, plop on our adrenaline real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and get a tap into the 183. Otherwise, we're probably just going to wait. Alright, so he is now tunneling us. I'm actually willing to take the hit from this guy, which is totally alright. So, yep, 1,000 damage. I can honestly care less. We got the Sheridan off to the side right over there. Let's go ahead and quickly... just barely missing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go in support of our E4. Otherwise, we got the 907 lurking on towards us as well. We're going to get a 401 slap into his vehicle. He's not really going to do nothing in support of that. So we're just going to go ahead and mosey our way right on through over here and get a quick slap into this Yo real quick. Oh my gosh, bro. Yep, there goes my RNG once again, unfortunately not contributing to my greatest upfall. So now we got the heavies that are going to be lurking on towards us now. We got the M6 Yo, beautiful slap for 399 right there. He is going to get a tap into me. Probably going to get another one as well, which he does, unfortunately enough. But we're going to go ahead and... Alright, we got the 907. Not really going to get a tap into him at the time being. Got the M6 Yo, beautiful stuff. We are possibly going to die here in the process, unless if I'm lucky enough to get a shot. Alright, he does bounce me. That's actually quite crazy. So, got the BZ. We're going to go ahead and get a quick slap before we die and surpass our limits up to 3,000 damage. And that is really what contributes to that 6-second reload time with those deadly DPM factors, is that you can put up really solid damage results like this, whether it's a winning or a losing game. It's unfortunate that our team actually fell apart at the last second right here. Mainly the heavies, because they couldn't really hold off that spot to the best of their ability. Our meds actually did a fine job because they deteriorated the lights, but our heavies, on the other hand, just absolute dog shit of a result. So, that's going to be a defeat right there, surpassing upwards of 3,200 damage for this game right here. Doing a fairly solid result as a par from that. And that is without a doubt going to be a top on the team in that aspect. Alright, so let's go ahead and lurk on into game number 3 then and see what we could do to make up for the first 2 mishaps. I mean, I wouldn't say that the first 2 battles were mishaps. I would honestly say that those were fairly solid battles for what this vehicle would have lurking for it. It's just that you would possibly need fairly solid support in order to do well for what this vehicle has going for it. Deadly gun, a fairly solid reverse to get out of danger zones more effectively. I mean, 10 degrees of gun depression, I mean, this thing is an absolute beast. It's quite insane that a lot of people aren't really talking about this vehicle that much, considering the deadly capabilities to what it features. So, here we are lurking on into game number 3 then. Let's see what they got. Looks like they got 60 TP, a 121B, a Grill as their only tank destroyer. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. We're going to head on over with the heavies, as it looks like that we are fairly solid on medium support. Otherwise, that the Sheridan is just going to be a complete gooner and abandon his flank. Because they got the double Sheridans on the enemy's team now, and they got a WZ-121 along the lines of that, and a 121B. Looks like we got the VK already spotted off to the side right there. It looks like that he did outspot us in that aspect too. So we're going to lurk on upward just a tiny bit, see what we can do as apart from what this guy is going to be doing. Okay. Looks like we got the 60 moseying on upward as well. I'm going to kind of back on up a little bit as I did get outspotted. Alright, so we're just going to kind of wait right here unless if our team is going to do anything in support of that. So we got the 60 TP right over there. Let's go ahead and see what he's going to do. Probably just going to be staying put right there. I don't know what this VK... Oh, he's going to mosey on all the way up. What is bro doing? Oh my goodness. So 3, 2, 1. We're just going to go ahead and deduct more hit points out of this enemy 90-01. I have no idea what bro's plan was right there, as he literally just instantly screwed himself right there. And I don't really know why he did it, or I'm not even going to question it, because he's out of the game now. So we got the Sheridan, who looks like he's going to be lurking on out. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get that, as I did hesitate just a tiny little bit in that aspect. So, got a 1-2-1 off to the far side over there as well. Let's see if this guy's going to be lurking on forward as well, which it looks like that he is. Alright, not able to spot him though. Alright, looks like we're going to be attacking the 60. So, that is exactly what we are going to do right there. We're going to get a nice tap for 439, and then reload it once again, and then we're going to mosey on up towards the 60 once again. Good, he gets a bounce on me. That is beautiful. All right, we're going to go ahead and get a nice slap for 426. And we got the Grill right off to the side right on over here as well, which he does miss me. All right. I don't really know why my team's taking forever to clear this 60. That's actually quite unfortunate. We got the Grill off to the side. Looks like that he is possibly going to make a dire mispoke once again. All right, we also got the WZ coming on over towards the far open side right over there, so we're going to get a nice miss into him. Well, luckily enough, he did not fire in on my vehicle, but the Grill did. All right, so that's kind of crazy. So what we're going to do is that we're going to be lurking on over towards this enemy Grill then over here, kind of going to be a little bit cautious for the mediums along the lines of that. So we're just going to be going all the way wide over here. There's the Grill right there. 779 deducted from the E100. That's a beautiful shot. Alright, so I want to kind of stay put right here just in case. So it looks like that the Grill is going to be moving on through this little gap right there, if I'm not mistaken. They could have that WZ-121 still off toward the back, but I'm not going to take a gamble as apart from that. So, we got the 121 already spotted off towards the far side. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to be going all the way wide over here. There's the 121. Okay, so he moved. Alright. T100 is going to try to outspot him to the best of his ability, so we're going to go ahead and lurk right behind this bush right here and see what we can do as apart from where this enemy's located. We did get spotted, though. Oh, there's the Sheridan. Of course, we love spotting mechanics for this game. Alright, so we're going to lurk on down right along over here then. That's exactly what we are going to do. Oh, the Grill bounced me too, unfortunately enough. Bro actually decided to think that he can get away with that. Alright, so, we got the Grill. Let's see if he's going to poke on out right along the lines over there. Oh, this gun. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part with having above 4 seconds of aiming time, is that at times the gun can do you extremely rad. So, we're going to lurk on over here then, and see what we can do about these two little stink munchkins over here. We got the 121, and we also got the Grill. Looks like he's going to make another dire mispoke as apart from that. So, we're going to wait. There's the 121. There we go. 425 slapperoonie into his vehicle. And he is going to be lurking on out over here once again. Or not. Okay, I must have hesitated. So, let's go ahead and continuously move on forward then over here. And see what these guys are going to be doing along the long run of that. Alright, so moving on upwards over here. We got the Grill and we got the WZ. So, it looks like the WZ is possibly... Actually, both of them are going to be lurking on out right there. We're going to get a quick clear into you. And then we're... Alright. Well, we love high alpha guns as apart from that. And 2,400 damage. Not a fairly solid result as apart from the second game, but still a fairly good one as opposed from that. Really contributes to where DPM can really do its job, doing pretty much solid games like this, for example. That is going to be a fairly solid result for a third time once again. So I do gotta say that the XM is still to this day, one of the most deadliest tank destroyers in terms of DPM levels, in terms of getting into the front line in a more severe period of time. Just everything that you have that wants to go for it. I don't really know why a lot of people are kind of skipping forward and not really thinking that this vehicle is as relevant with the current capabilities that it features, but I do really assume that it could receive far more attention for the fact that you got a deadly gun, 10 degrees of gun depression, which can be very flexible of a holding vehicle, and fairly solid maneuverability along the lines of that. So, gets the XM more attention along the lines of that. So, hopefully you guys did end up enjoying today's video on the other hand. And if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And make sure to turn on those bell notifications while you're at it, so you do not miss out on any new videos or streams. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, y'all.